Hello, Jenny Hall here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I would like to share a brand new stamp set called Country Christmas Wreath. There's also coordinating dies and a coordinating stencil. They all work together beautifully. Off camera I have made all of the die cuts because this project is very die cut heavy. If you haven't yet seen the Hexagon Palm Blender from Honeybee Stamps, then you must check it out. This is a really unique blending brush that has a very large area. The bristles are so soft and smooth, and I can color die cuts really quickly. I'm going to add just a little bit of enhancement with some Distress Oxide inks to some of the die cuts. I've used a variety of greens, and I just absolutely love how all these elements work together. Before I start building up the wreath, I'm going to use that stencil, and by using a few post-it notes, I'm isolating an area because I get a little crazy with the blending brush sometimes, so I need a little help with those post-it notes. Now, if I just take that with a little bit of ink, that beautiful Hexagon Palm Blender brush, it adds some wonderful elements to the background, and I'm keeping the coloring very soft because I want these to just be soft accents to what's already there. Those die cuts are really going to be able to show up nicely in contrast to some shaded shadow areas. Now I'm using that same Distress Oxide with some of the stamps from the Country Wreath stamp set and added a little bit of atmosphere of what would be like berries, kind of like a berry spray look. Now I'm going to start building up the wreath. I'm using the Honeybee Stamps Precision Tip Glue, and this glue is really amazing. It sticks wonderfully. But it's not a very thin glue. It's nice and heavy, and so it's easy for me to manipulate and put the items down and still have a few moments to move them around. If you notice that of the outside edges of that base wreath have a lot of visual texture to them, but in the center of it, there's not a whole lot, and that allows you to really get a look of dimension. So this looks like, when I'm finished, that there are 3 or 4 layers of greenery piled up. But it's just the base plus one piece on top and then some atmosphere pieces. It works together like magic. I'm going to add what looks like some holly and berries, and am trying to remember to place things sort of in a triangle design, working in threes. So if I have the holly and berries in a visual triangle, then I'm trying to do the same thing for the other sprigs of greenery. It looks like maybe mistletoe. And of course, working in threes, I've got 3 of these really cool flowers. I'm not sure exactly what they're supposed to be, but I think they work really nicely on a design. So I've chosen to give them a neutral color scheme and have stamped a center, and I have stamped on the actual little leaves of it as well. Now I'm going to stick with my color scheme and keep everything down to earth tones, and I'm going to add the sentiment embossed in white embossing powder onto some brown cardstock. Once it's die cut, I can place that anywhere. I want to make this a really fresh look, and the fact that there are some fresh fruits in the stamp set was my most favorite part. I love the look of oranges and lemons in holiday greenery designs. It's such a wonderful fresh look. It's not necessarily something that is country. You could also give it a little bit of a shabby look, but the fact that you can mix in some fruits is just amazing. So I'm going to stamp all of these little orange, or we're maybe oranges, maybe lemons. We're going to stamp those on some Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I've used some fade out ink from Ink on 3 because that'll give me that no line watercolor look. And then I'll add my coloring from my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. And then once the ink from Ink on 3 grabs the color from the zigs, it just kind of darkens it and makes that look as if that's the stamped color, and it's perfect. I'm going to do 4 of these and die cut it with the coordinating dies. I chose to place my sentiment kind of off-centered a little bit, and now I'm going to fold up those flower die cuts and place them on the front on the wreath. I chose to break up that whole visual triangle look just a little bit with those flowers. And that's going to kind of offset the balance between the flowers and the sentiment. Now I'm going to place those oranges or lemons, or maybe they're tangerines or Meyer lemons. Or Meyer lemons are coming into season now too, aren't they? And then I'll use some of the leftover little tiny red berries. Now I like how this stamp set and dies are designed to where you can mix and match the pieces in any way. I'm most certain that I'm not using those little red berries in the way that they were designed. But that's the great thing about a die set like this, that we can come up with our own imagination and make it fit our purpose. Now I'm going to add some sparkle from my Nuvo Shimmer pen, and this is available in the Honeybee shop. And I'm adding it to a lot of the elements of the wreath, except for the sentiment. I want to keep the sentiment matte. And I like how this adds just a little bit of sparkle without too much. And then I kind of shook it to get just a little bit of splatter. And check it out. There it goes. Now this can be done in any kind of colorway. In fact, I did another one off camera that has just a little bit lighter. It's very similar, but the greenery is definitely lighter. And I think this is just one of the best wreath builders that I have ever used. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to recreate this in some different color schemes. Thanks for spending time with us at Honeybee. We'll see you next time.